What is your American dream?
To live a comfortable life, like where I don't have to worry about bills, I don't have to worry about anything. I'm just living comfortably to support my family and be healthy.
My American dream is to be successful and to thrive in what I do.
My American dream is to build a legacy, like my family did, my past family did, that migrated over here. For my children.
I just want to be successful, be a role model to the next generation.
American dream is to become an entrepreneur, and which I'm planning to start my own business very soon back home in Nigeria. I'm trying to gather a lot of experience and a lot of partners here in America. Nice. Then I'll take them to Nigeria.
American dream is basically live in a world where there's less stigmatism about any culture and it's to be more accepting. That's what America is built off of, a melting pot of different cultures.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday Hump Day. It's Bradshaw Live. We started relatively on time, and we have a new thing here on Facebook, I just noticed. Facebook may have solved our problems.
Our problem from yesterday.
Our problems from yesterday. Yeah. Where many of our OG were mad at some of the newer Brad squad. We had a clash, but now
a revolution.
A revolution. But now I see, for the first time, I don't know if we see it, if everybody sees it.
No, only we see it.
Only
the admins.
Only the admins see it. Very, very interesting. We see. Facebook is now telling us who our top family members are, our top fans. So I am going to now go down and say hello only. Only.
Lord.
To the top. Oh, Lord.
This is going to
Oh, Lordy, Lordy, Lord.
This is going to cause drama.
Oh, Lordy, 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 Lord. Deb Bassow, how you doing? Deb Bassow, how you doing? And Tamika Nelson, Lynn Brown, Reginald Amata, Clyde Bernard, Rita Ritt, how you doing there? And Christy Consali. I don't think we've said hello to Christy in a while. Who else? Maureen McFarland, how are you? Asset Lindo, Carol Anderson, the Tiger. And who else here does Jella Shauna, Facebook says, a top fan. Willie Williams, hey now. He was always giving me a hello, a hey now. And who else does Facebook say is a top? Anna Tomaversky. Also.
Anna Tomarevsky.
Also a top fan. And Marsha Whitaker, Jeff Bosey, and Rog J. Roberts, a top fan. Congratulations. At least according to Facebook. And hello to the entire Brad squad. It is Hump Day. It is Wednesday.
Yeah.
And apparently you become a top fan by watching regularly and commenting.
Yes.
That's how Facebook does it.
Exactly.
So we have a way now, Tamika.
To know.
Yes, Tamika. She was voicing
her displeasure yesterday.
Yes. As she should.
We have
your
to
family.
Yes. Spotters. Yeah, exactly. If you can't be honest with your family, who can you be honest with?
That's correct. Now, I want you to know something. Yesterday somebody called. I was very touched that, at least I have one vote for president.
Yes, you
do. Somebody called and voted for president. Groundhog Sam went about, he decided that he has to start preparing for me to prep for my interview, for my debate.
Yeah.
For my political debate with Donald Trump. So first, before we go any further, let's watch Groundhog Sam preparing for my debate with President Trump.
Oh, hello everybody. I'm just sitting here preparing something for Brad. The people have spoken and they made it clear in yesterday's show that they want Brad to run for president in 2020. Bernstein 2020, woohoo! So I have been designated as Brad's campaign manager, and I've got to get him ready for debates against Donald Trump. We all know how much Trump likes to insult people.
We have losers. How stupid are our leaders? Very stupid people.
So I'm making sure that Brad is prepared, and I'm writing up our first mock debate. As you can see, I'm channeling my Donald Trump today. So I'm going to hit Brad with some of the insults Trump likes to use against his opponents. Brad's gonna have to be tough, and he's gonna have to stay strong. And I really hope he doesn't hold any of this against me, because I'm just mimicking the Trump. I'm gonna try these questions out on the Brad Squad. Number 1, Mr. Bernstein. You want everyone to have a chance at obtaining their American dreams? You're a loser. That's so weak of you. Number 2, you're an attorney? Big deal. Sorry, Bernstein, but my IQ is one of the highest. Way higher than yours. Everyone knows it. Please don't feel dumb or insecure. It's not your fault you were born stupid and my brain can run circles around yours. Number 3, Bernstein, you'll have a mental breakdown if you take me on. Everyone knows how low your Bradshaw Live ratings are. Your schmoozing with Brad segments talking about me are all fake news. The only decent shows on TV are on Fox News. Everyone knows that. 4, Bernstein, you running for president 2020 is terrible. You're a terrible negotiator, not like me. I'm the best businessman in the world, and I only hire the best people, like my wonderful son Don Jr., who may or may not have colluded with the Russians when he met with them in 2016, which I knew nothing about, and Paul Manafort, who is now on federal trial for 32 counts of offshore tax evasion, which I knew nothing about. I hire only the best. What do you guys think? I think Brad's really gonna kill this. Trump's gonna be in trouble going up against him in the debates. It might be so hard for Trump, he might start bleeding out of all of his orifices. What a jerk. You guys miss yesterday's episode of Bradshaw Live? Well, besides the viewers saying Brad should run for president, we also met Dominican-American graphic artist Tony Peralta. We learned about his beautiful art, his career, and his parents' immigration story. What's on today's show? You'll have to watch and see. I'm gonna have to start making Bernstein 2020 banners. Unlike Trump, I'll have them made in America instead of China. Ha 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 ha. Okay, everyone, enjoy the show.
Did I just get insulted by a puppet?
You just got red for Phil.
I just get insulted by a puppet in a Trump wig?
Yes.
First of all, Sam, let me just be clear, Sam. Okay, in the words of Michelle Obama, you go low, I go high.
All right.
All right, that's what we do here on Bradshaw Live. Mm-hmm. Okay, we know who's telling the truth. We know who's got the IQ, and we know who weaves a story, and it ain't us.
He's just preparing you for.
He's just preparing me for the insults.
That's exactly what
for the insults that would be coming my way.
Exactly.
Right. You're right. I have low IQ.
Right.
I'm a loser.
You're a loser.
Yet you have the most successful firm right here. You know.
That is true. That is true. That is
Your
true.
work speaks for itself.
The work speaks for itself.
Yes.
So any event, welcome everybody, and that was a good job there, Sam. Right?
That was good.
Getting prepared, preparing me for the debate.
He actually did research.
He did research.
He worked.
Right. Sam told me he looked up the four insults that Trump has used the most on Twitter. You're low IQ, you're stupid.
Yeah.
Whatever the other two were that we got to go back and look. I don't remember what they were. But in any event, welcome everybody, and do have to remind everybody on Bradshaw Live, if you want to watch our show, please like and follow Bradshaw Live. Today we are going to be answering your questions that you leave in messages and in comments on Instagram first at Bradshaw Live. So if you want to make sure that you get your questions answered first, please send us a message or leave a comment on one of our posts on at Bradshaw Live on Instagram. Also, please subscribe to YouTube. People tell us all the time, YouTube comes in much more crisper. So if you want to see a crisper view of us, I don't know if you would want to see a crisper. Maybe you want to see crisper of Kim and Jonathan. I don't know about me personally. Please subscribe to Bradshaw Live on YouTube. Belgium Kim, Jonathan, what do you have to say for yourselves before we get into our schmooze?
Do we have things to say for ourselves?
Oh,
I
don't.
always have things to say for myself. The only thing I really want to say is follow me at Belgium Kim on Facebook and Instagram after you follow Bradshaw Live on Instagram to check out the awesome recaps.
Wonderful self-serving statement. Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias.
Well, after you follow Bradshaw Live and Kimmy Kim, follow me on Instagram at Jonathan Elias TV.
And tomorrow, Jonathan Elias TV, also known as Yo-Yo, will be on the Grand Hustle.
Yes, on BET.
BET at 10 o'clock. Be there or be square.
Yeah.
So with that being said, see what's going on here. The EPA is putting asbestos back in products. Thank you, Donald Trump.
Wow.
Yes, it is now. The EPA has decided after looking at the problems that asbestos causes people. It's a naturally known carcinogen. If you breathe it, you will die.
Right.
There is no cure.
Right.
It is death.
Right.
The EPA has looked at this and said, you know what? I think you should go back in products that Americans buy.
Oh my God.
So as of June 1st this year, the EPA has authorized a new significant use rule that has allowed the creation of new products containing asbestos.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Because only 40,000 people die from asbestos right now. They took asbestos off the markets in the 1970s because people were dying. Entire legal industries were made suing manufacturers that put asbestos in their products.
Wow.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
So wait, it wasn't legal to put it in since the 70s?
Since the 70s, no. Until Donald Trump and June 1st.
Is he trying to...
Yes.
It feels like this is like genocide. Like, he's just trying to wipe people out. I don't get it.
Well, I will tell you, you're not far from the truth, Jonathan. Okay? Eurobest, which is the largest producer of asbestos in the entire world. Where do you think Eurobest manufactures their asbestos?
Europe?
Russia!
Of course.
Right. It is a Russian mining company. It is the world's largest supplier of asbestos. Do you think there is a coincidence between what is going on, Jonathan and Belgium Kim?
Absolutely not.
Do you think there's any coincidence, that there is any collusion? No.
I think that there is no coincidence. That it is not a coincidence.
It is not a coincidence. Let me give you some more facts.
Right.
Because if I haven't sold you yet on the coincidence of asbestos back in U.S. products, Eurobest, which is the largest mining company in the world, providing asbestos to be put in products, and it is Russia. Let me add this little tiny fact. You can't make this stuff up.
Right.
Can't make it up. As of June, around the same exact time that the EPA has now allowed asbestos back into American products. Again, this is the mineral that causes cancer. It's a terrible lung cancer. It is painful. It is deadly. There is no cure for this. You die in about 18 months from the time of onset of breathing it in, of the onset of getting the cancer, but it stays in your system for 30 years. You don't know you have it for 20, 30 years. So you die later on in life, but once it comes, there's no cure for it. So it is a major, major risk. President Trump has said there's no collusion between the United States and his campaign in Russia, yet the EPA, for some unknown reason, has now allowed a toxic substance back into American-made products. We don't even know which products.
What exactly does it do, though?
It causes, if you breathe
But yeah, I
in-
understand that, but I'm saying why are they allowing it into the products? What does that do to the products?
It allows you to bind metals and plastics together.
Oh, okay.
It's a binding agent. So, but this is the tidbit that is the most shocking of them all. Okay, so besides Eurobest being the largest supplier of asbestos, they now have posted a photo on social media. This is a real photo. It's not a fake news photo. Okay, in June, they were so happy about this EPA change in rules that would allow Russia to poison Americans with asbestos.
Right.
Okay, that they have now put the seal on their shipping pallets. The seal on the shipping pallets is a picture of President Donald Trump.
You are lying.
You can't make this up.
What?
And that is on. And if anyone doesn't believe us, all you have to do is go on Facebook to the URALASBEST, the Uralast Russian mining company that is on their official website. They have posted a picture of Donald Trump as the seal on their pallets.
This is crazy.
Wow. You know, I just looked up on their Facebook. It's the very first post at the tippy top of their Facebook page.
They are proud of it.
They are so proud. That's good.
Now, just to give you a little heads up, okay? In 2012, okay, it was discovered that the World Trade Center that, from 9/11 that blew up was made of, all of their joints were sealed by asbestos, the pipes and everything. And that is why people who worked at the 9/11 sites all got sick.
So is that what they've been?
It was breathing in the asbestos from the destruction.
Because I know, just a couple years ago, a bunch of them started dying.
Correct. It's also used as a fire retardant. So when they seal things together, asbestos doesn't catch on fire.
Okay.
So it was used a long time ago, so to prevent buildings from going up in flames. But the EPA says there's no risk anymore. Apparently, asbestos is now safe.
How? Like, did they change?
Nothing's changed.
Nothing has changed. So
if anything, there's more evidence.
Let me tell you what has changed. What has changed is that there are people in power running our government that are self-serving and just don't give a crap about people, about their health, about their well-being. They just care about their own particular power and lining their products and their pockets with a lot of effing money.
That's so scary.
Okay, and when the Eurobest mining company that knows it's poisoning the United States of America puts its seal on its pallets, a picture of Donald Trump.
So people who are actually in trial right now trying to fight stuff like that.
Most of them die before they get to trial.
Right.
And most of them don't know that they had been exposed to cancer till much later on in life. Cancerous causing materials.
So basically, we wouldn't know the impact of this until 20, 30 years down the line.
That is correct.
When children and...
Now, for example, okay, my office, where we are broadcasting right now, is about 2 blocks from the World Trade Center site.
Yes.
I came, after the 9/11, I got permission to come from the police. They escorted us down. I came to the office, so I was able to get computers and computer service. We were we weren't allowed in our building for about 3 to 4 months.
Wow.
I am sure that as I walked down the street, and I was right next to, I walked over and looked at the destruction. I saw about 9 or 10 stories of metal and men working in the pits and cranes taking the metal out. This is about 3 weeks after the 9/11.
Wow.
I am sure that I was exposed at some level to asbestos.
Wow.
I hope as I grow older
Yeah.
that I don't develop, but I don't know. I wish
And
I
there's
knew.
there's no way to test.
There's no way to test or anything. And I wish I knew when I went down to get the files that I'm helping somebody get a green card that I was also killing myself.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Knock on wood. We don't know. But that is a very true story.
That's
wow.
Yeah.
And then
so everybody who was down here, the police, the military.
Right. They're all exposed.
They were all exposed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a way to be able to know, like, this is where you were exposed to it? Like, I can't imagine how.
There's no specific way, but you can argue that this was the only place that I could have been exposed.
Right. Okay.
Right.
That makes
and then it's for a jury to make that determination.
Wow.
Meanwhile, talking about Russia, our great American hero, the chef on the boat. What was that movie when Steven Seagal was the chef on the boat, but he was also the karate king?
I have.
He's always beating up the bad guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, right? American. Look up the book when he's on the military and he's the chef. But he also was like the killing
Under
machine.
Siege. Oh, Under Siege. That was a great movie.
Right.
That was a great movie.
Okay. So our Russia, not only is Russia, okay, putting the stamp of Donald Trump on asbestos that is being shipped to the United States to kill us all.
Yeah.
They have taken one of our great American action heroes
Oh, God.
and has now converted him to a Russian citizen.
What?
I am not kidding. Steven Seagal has now become a Russian citizen and a special envoy to the United States of America. Here is a guy who made hundreds of millions of dollars in American action movies and now has taken up Russian citizenship. And basically, I don't know, was he a double agent all this time?
Right.
I mean, I don't understand how this is even happening.
This is one of the funniest things. We have Rodman as our
Steven Seagal's unpaid and mostly ceremonial position for Russia now. This is what we're reading.
Okay.
We'll have him working with U.S. officials on humanitarian issues between the United States and Russia, as well as other matters that come up in the field of culture, arts, science, education, sports, public and youth exchanges, according to a statement by the Russia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs on Facebook. Again, we ain't making this up. Go to the Russian Ministry's official Facebook page, okay? They have taken our biggest action hero,
our American hero,
and have made him a Russian citizen. The guy who was under siege, he was the cook. He was the goddamn cook, and the terrorists. And he was in the Patriot too, but he was the cook on the boat. And they came and they killed everyone in the military except the cook. And the cook came out and he killed everybody. And he was a goddamn Russian agent the whole time.
The world is going
The world's
amok.
going crazy here.
we bought it. We bought it hook, line, and sinker, Brad.
Now, I will tell you my brush with Steven Seagal.
You have a brush?
I have a brush.
Okay.
I have a brush with him.
Okay.
Okay, you want to hear the brush with Steven Seagal?
So ready.
Okay, so back in my radio days,
when
I first started on the radio in 1999, 2000, it was right before 9/11.
Okay.
Okay, maybe it was 99, 2000, right there, but 9/11 hadn't happened yet.
Okay.
And I was broadcasting my immigration show, which is now our Bradshaw live show. Okay, at the time I was just answering immigration questions. It wasn't like this whole setup production that we have here right now. I was broadcasting in both New York and through Kingston on Hot 102. So anybody who knows Jamaican radio, Hot 102, I was also broadcasting live, and I was taking questions. We were taking questions both from people in Jamaica and people in New York.
Okay.
And Squeeze, who is no longer here, he had this bright idea to go to Jamaica to do our show in Jamaica.
Okay.
So we all go to Jamaica,
and
the newspaper, the Jamaican Gleaner, comes and interviews me. You know, big lawyer coming down. So I get the Sunday paper, and there were three celebrities in Jamaica at that time.
What?
Okay.
It was Brad Bernstein, who was far from a celebrity.
No, celebrity number one.
Not a celebrity. Okay, you know, there's like D celebrities.
Uh-huh.
I was the E celebrity.
Oh,
okay?
please.
All right, but they came and interviewed me. Steven Seagal was there promoting a movie, whatever he was doing that same weekend, staying at my hotel.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
And also at my hotel at the same time was Johnny Cochran.
Oh my God! If
Yes.
the glove doesn't
And
fit, Johnny
apparently,
Wow, Johnny Cochran.
Johnny Cochran, right? And unbeknownst to me, the paper came and interviewed me. They came and interviewed Steven Seagal, and then they went and interviewed Johnny Cochran
Wow.
for the Sunday paper.
Uh-huh.
All right. So the Sunday paper comes out. I did my thing that Friday, and I just stay in Kingston for the weekend.
Of course.
And, you know, leaving Sunday night, I get the paper, and there on the front page is a huge thing of Steven Seagal.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Jamaica.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, Steven Seagal beat me.
Fair.
I got it. Fair.
Right.
I flipped the page. It's a 2-page article, Brad Bernstein in Jamaica.
2 pages.
2 pages.
Wow.
Answering immigration questions.
Uh-huh.
And with a big picture of me sitting poolside.
Wow.
At the time, the Hilton, I don't even know if the Hilton's there anymore. I believe it is. The Hilton in Kingston, Jamaica.
Uh-huh.
Then I flipped the page, a couple more pages. And there's a tiny little picture of Johnny Cochran.
No!
Wow.
2 paragraphs.
What?
You're bigger than Johnny Cochran, Brad.
For that one day only.
No, forever.
That is a true.
I agree,
That is a true story.
Wow.
Now I saw Steven Seagal in the lobby,
Uh-huh.
and I said, "Hey, Steven, how are you?"
Yeah.
And he didn't say anything back to me. He
But
just-
that's a brush.
That was a brush.
That's a
still a
brush.
brush.
That
I
counts.
thought he would, you know, as an American to it, but apparently it wasn't American to American.
And hadn't he looked at the paper?
Apparently it was Russian to American.
Yeah.
It says, I didn't know at
Future
the
Russian.
time, a future Russian, I don't speak to Americans.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't ask you if you could help with his
Yeah.
Russian immigration.
Right.
Now, I have no idea why is Steven Seagal a Russian citizen. What happened there to Steven Seagal? What happened to him?
Is it not in there? So
I don't
think,
know. Why
so
did he
I know
become
that,
a Russian citizen?
I know that Seagal attended Putin's his presidential ceremony, his inauguration, and they are close friends. So I'm assuming that it's because
He's a double
just
agent.
friends with Vladimir Putin.
It's crazy.
And that's the
Double
only
agent.
thing that's required to get
Yeah,
Russian citizenship.
It's well, Jilly's saying in my ear, they started a friendship because they're both into martial arts. So Putin started doing karate with,
and then they're doing
and then
karate
they're doing
beside
karate with each other, and then Putin says, "Hey, you know what? You're so good at karate.
Why don't you become
just
a Russian?"
citizen?" That
What?
makes sense to me.
I feel like the United States is really sending its best. We're really sending our best and brightest. We've got Dennis Rodman to North Korea. We've got Steven Seagal in Russia. Best and brightest.
These are power hitters right
All
there.
right. So this is what's in my notes. Okay. Putin met Seagal a few years ago.
Yeah.
When Seagal's band, he's a musician also. He's a karate man and a musician.
Of course he is.
Right. Similar to Hasselhoff.
I was about to say him
All
and
right,
David.
Him and Hasselhoff, right? He performed. You can't make this up. Steven Seagal was summoned to perform for Putin. Apparently Putin is a big fan
Oh,
of
God.
Steven Seagal music. What does he possibly perform? I don't know. So ever
Lord.
since Seagal, was summoned to perform for a private ceremony for Putin,
Yeah.
Putin fell in love with this guy. Says this guy's the best musician in the world.
That's amazing.
And then ultimately they became very good friends.
True love.
And Seagal is now a Russian citizen.
Bromance at its best.
So that really is the only requirement to become a Russian citizen is just to be friends with Vladimir Putin, and that's how you get your citizenship in Russia?
I don't
Sounds about right.
It sounds easy.
I don't know. And meanwhile, Lynn Brown says he's washed up and he's trying to get a new
Career,
new lease on a new comeback.
Yeah.
Yes, because the cinemas in the Ural Mountains of Russia are lacking good movies. They're starting Russian Hollywood over there, maybe. All right.
Lucky them.
What else is happening in the news, Kim? We can't make this stuff up here on Hump Day Wednesday.
It is Hump Day.
All right. I found myself doing something that President Trump does.
Oh, no.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Words you never
I
want
was
to hear.
up.
Make
I was
money.
up last night around 3 in the morning. I went out for dinner and maybe I had one too many tequilas. You know, now that I have no gallbladder.
No gallbladder.
No gallbladder anymore. Maybe the tequila wasn't the smartest thing.
Tequila to make you feel it.
Yeah, tequila to make you feel it.
Uh-huh.
Right?
No.
Well, you ever hear of liquor? I didn't even know her.
I like that one.
I only I only did it because it's hump day.
I like that
So
one.
any event,
I have 3 big brothers, and I have never heard that one
I've never
before.
heard that one too. But never gonna use it.
that's a Brad Bernstein from college.
I never even met her.
So any event, I was up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
All right, because I tequila because I could feel her. Is that I never heard that one.
Really?
No,
Tequila
never.
to make you feel it?
Tequila. 'Cause
That's
you can
my
make
go-to.
Tequila to make you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I see. So I was up and I was rewatching the Bradshaw live from the few hours earlier,
Okay.
which is where I saw Tamika screaming at me
Hey.
in capital
So
letters,
angry.
Hardcore.
so angry, and I'm like, wow,
So angry.
so angry. So then I come in this morning.
Yeah.
So I go to Jilly Bee and I said, what, you know what I was doing last night at 3 a.m? I was actually rewatched the show because I was wide awake.
Uh-huh.
And she goes, you and Trump. I go, what are you talking about, me and Trump? She goes, Trump TiVo's his, it just came out in the news, Trump, I didn't see this, Jilly told me. Trump TiVo's his
rallies?
His rallies, and then goes back and watches them.
No, he does
like an
not.
NFL coach reviewing a game film, he says.
So annoying.
Right. So, but instead of him looking at techniques to improve, which is what I was doing,
Right.
and I did the mea culpa to Tamika today. Okay. So instead of looking for weaknesses like I was doing to improve my performance,
Right.
okay, Trump luxuriates in the moments he believes are evidence of his brilliance.
Oh God.
Okay, when watching replays, Trump starts yelling to his staff, wait for it, see what I did there.
Oh.
I can't do a Trump imitation.
I can't.
You know, and then he yells, people think it's easy, Trump said in one of the riffs. I've been doing this a long time now, and people are used to it every rally, and they think it's easy because, hey, P.T. Barnum, he does it, the circus. They don't realize it's a lot of work. It's not easy.
To be a clown?
It's pretty easy to talk.
It's pretty easy to be
Are you having a problem talking right now?
So far, I'm plowing through, Brad. I'm really powering through.
You having a problem talking?
No, absolutely not.
Is it hard to talk?
No.
Not hard to talk.
I
Yeah, it's not
That's
that
crazy.
No, it seems pretty easy.
That's crazy.
If anything, this is kind of fun.
I see him on his knees with a sippy cup in front of the TV telling his staff to look at this part.
You missed it.
Like, that's what I see.
That's how I totally get that.
With a little train tracker in front of him. Like,
That's amazing.
I just see him lying in bed in like a bathrobe and slippers watching.
See, in my head, he's shirtless with a bowl of popcorn sitting on his tummy.
It's a bad.
They're all
bad-
terrible
it's a
notions.
bad-
Terrible.
Meanwhile, do you remember the honey badger?
yes.
Yeah, don't give a
Yeah. So the honey badger, there was the guy back, I think it was around 2011, 2012, maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he was at a video of the honey badger going around, acting crazy and just not giving a shit.
Right.
And he was the motto was look at this, or the slogan was look at this honey badger.
Right.
The honey badger don't give a shit.
Right.
So here's the video, and without the sound, and this
What?
is the honey badger don't give a shit video.
Oh.
Right, and then he's like chasing. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love that.
So now apparently Papyrus, the place where you go buy a birthday card for $28
I was just
a
the
card.
bougie
Right.
birthday card place.
It's not bougie birthday card place. I would call it the ripoff.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
the most expensive birthday cards in the world.
Yeah.
They have ripped off the honey badger, and they have now birthday cards. The honey badger don't give a shit birthday cards, and now they're being sued by this guy Christopher Gordon, and their defense is They have a First Amendment right as a greeting card company They have a First Amendment right as a greeting card company to say whatever they want.
Oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
I don't know if that's a good defense or not, but that's.
Honey Badger don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Happy
but
birthday.
I just did that because I remember when I was in South Africa. And I've talked about coming to South Africa. It was one of my most favorite trips. And we went on the safari. I was with my kids.
Yeah.
And that's when the video first came out. And we're like, oh my God, there's the lion. Oh my God, there's the hippopotamus. Like these amazing animals that you would never see ever. And all they want to see is, where's the honey badger?
Oh my gosh.
The honey badger don't give a shit. That's what I heard. That's what I heard for like 2 weeks in South Africa.
Hilarious.
So that's why we are.
Fantastic.
That's why we're talking about that. Any hump day news?
You tell us, Dad.
I don't know. I have my hump day news here.
Do you?
I have my hump day news here. And we're going to get to your calls in a minute. The rooster alarm clock is coming out for Christmas.
A rooster alarm clock?
Yes.
Okay.
Alarm clock.
But it wakes you up. The rooster wakes... I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this.
Wait.
The rooster wakes you up. Instead of an alarm, it wakes you up with an orgasm.
God.
Excuse?
Wow. What?
Yes. The little rooster is an alarm clock vibrator. It's coming out this Christmas.
What?
According to the website, weighs approximately as much as light as a Kit Kat bar. But
How does that
instead,
matter?
Kit Kat bar?
you shove it up you, Kim. Kim, it's not being shoved up me.
It doesn't go up.
Oh, it just sits in your underwear, Kim.
Right.
Nothing's being shoved up anywhere.
Thanks, Brad. That's fantastic.
Yes,
I want nothing else for my birthday.
And instead of hearing a little jiggle in your ear, you hear a little jingle in your pants.
Or you feel a little jiggle in your pants.
Yeah, I would be walking around with just like a smile on my face
That's
all day
actually a great way to wake up.
Although, how would you get out of bed?
Now, what they call the snooze.
Yeah.
There's
so it's a
now for the
snooze.
first time.
There's a snooze.
There's a snooze button, but they call it the snorgasm feature.
What?
Yes, the snorgasm. Lets you fall back to sleep and then
Re-wakes you
up with a slow
weak.
snorgasm 9 minutes later.
So if you get sleepy after the first one, you can drift back
Yes.
off, and then 30 minutes later,
You're not going to want to get out of bed.
I was gonna say I would never get to work every morning.
Are you going to be getting that for anybody this Christmas, Jonathan?
Possibly.
Who would you be getting that for?
One of my best friends, a girl.
You would get that for her.
Yeah, she's a lesbian, so you know,
She's a lesbian.
she would love that.
Why? Why? Straight person wouldn't like that?
No, she's like a stud lesbian, so I don't think like she likes girls really going down there. So but you still like the feeling. So
I feel like it's a really good stocking stuffer.
literally. Woo!
Kim's on fire today.
I can't even talk about this anymore. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Hump Day on Wednesday. And we got to get to our immigration questions. Tamika says, Kim, you want one for your birthday?
I'm replying,
Whoa.
yes.
It's only $89.
Perfect.
And what's the website? What was the
Is
website?
it
Brad, you are not allowed to get it for your workers, though.
Every female in the
I will be on the next Schmooze with Brad. And in other news, Brad Bernstein gets sued by 40 female workers.
Celebrity rap sheet.
Celebrity rap sheet. Brad Bernstein sued by 40 female workers. What is this website where you can get it?
Let me tell you, Brad. It's at littleroosterstore.com.
There it is.
That's littleroosterstore.com.
I'm so weak.
There's apparently there's multiple versions, so
Yes.
whatever, ergonomic or not, ladies, pick your fave.
So, yeah, it's hump day. This is what happens, right?
Yes! Oh, man.
All right, so
I'm a fan of
everybody,
that
please
one.
share this. We're going to be answering your immigration questions right now. The telephone number to call is 1-800-529-5465. We are going to get serious now. I'm going to try to help as many people as I can. But before I help as many people as I can, I'm going to ask Belgium Kim and Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias to give us a very heartfelt, demanding, sincere, empathetic plea to everybody out there to take your finger out and do something with it
Ooh, what are you going to do
on Hump Day?
Are you going to
Hump
program your
Yes, on
alarm
Hump Day.
clock?
Yes.
Maybe, but after you share the show.
Yes.
Share, share, share.
Yes.
Hit that little arrow. Then what, Jonathan?
All you have to do is hit that little arrow, bottom or top part of the video. It's facing to the right. Click on that and then share it individually. Share it to pages. Don't get kicked out of Facebook or blocked, but share it to enough people so they can start sharing it as well, because you never know who needs to hear this information. All right?
Beautiful.
Belgium Kim. By the way, Jeff Bosey is not surprised that you have the website memorized. And Carol Anderson, the Tiger, says, Jonathan, she's getting one for you.
For me?
March says,
She's getting one for you.
March said, I'm getting one. It's always good to have backup. Yes, queen.
All right.
Glenn
You never
knows
know.
how to
You
wake
never
up.
know, right? Right. Instead of getting Viagra for your man, you just get the little rooster alarm clock and you don't have to worry anymore. Right?
Exactly.
Oh, God, Lord have
If
mercy.
your schedules aren't synced up,
That's
no
right.
worries.
No worries.
Amazing.
All right. So here's a little section we call You Got Answer. We're going to get your answers to your immigration questions if you call right now at 1-800-529-5465. And we're going to go to Carmine in Queens, New York. Carmine.
Hello, good day. How you doing?
Good day. How you doing?
What's up, Brad? So I'm asking on the behalf of someone. Someone gave me a question. If they apply for special immigrant juvenile status at age 19 in New York and they get denied because they were over age 18.
They should appeal. They should appeal because I think immigration is looking at those regulations wrong. All of them should appeal to keep your case up and open. Immigration up until about 6 months ago for 20 years was approving those cases in New York.
Okay, so you wouldn't advise them to, like, what if they have a girlfriend or something?
Okay, well, if you have another way to get a green card, and that's a legitimate way, why fight an uphill battle? But what I'm saying is, if that's your only way, keep fighting. I think immigration's wrong.
Okay, all right. Thank you then.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go to Amy in Seattle, Washington. Amy.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Actually, I did my interview like last year, October, about an asylum. But after that, I've not heard anything or get any letter from them. So
where are you from?
I don't know.
Where are you from?
I'm from Gambia.
And what if it's too personal, you don't have to share. But what was your claim for asylum? Why did you say that you have a fear of returning home?
It's about FGM.
About what? I'm sorry?
FGM.
Okay. So that's the female genital mutilation. Those are things that happens sometimes in Africa, and it was either you or maybe your daughter. You should be getting a decision soon. When was your interview?
Last year, October.
And this was out in the state of Washington?
Yes.
Okay. If you do not hear anything, you had an attorney?
Right.
Did you have an attorney?
Yeah, I have an attorney.
And
we
what is your
wrote to
attorney
them
saying
like
to you?
we wrote to them around March about the decision, but they haven't responded to him, and that's what he says. He's still telling me that they haven't responded to him.
All right. So this is this is how I would handle it if I were you. Number one, before I do anything with immigration, I would want to review your application, your claims, your evidence of your claims, and your credibility. And the reason I want to do that is to make sure that if we follow through, we feel confident you're going to win your case. We don't want to push them for a decision if you're going to lose, because then you're in removal proceedings. So I would like to review that, and if we feel confident in our firm that you have a solid case, then if they don't make a decision in 30 days, we do something called a mandamus action. What is a mandamus action? A mandamus action is a lawsuit. It's brought in federal court, and it's brought in federal district court in wherever you are. And we're not suing for money. We're suing for the government to do their job. The government has to do their job in a reasonable amount of time. So and this goes to anything, whether you have a citizenship case pending, you have an adjustment pending, whatever case is pending, and it's been taking a year and a half, 2 years, you don't have any decision, the solution is a mandamus. You sue the government, they're not doing their job, they're supposed to give me a decision in a reasonable amount of time, and generally when you do that, you get a decision. Now, when you sue for the mandamus, you can't sue them to give you the decision you want, you're just suing them for a decision. So that's why before we do it, we review everything. We don't want to sue them for a decision that's going to get denied. So we want to make sure that everything's cool with your case before we move forward. That would be the solution. When do you do that? When you get freaking tired of waiting.
Right.
So if you want, we could have a consultation and we can take a look at it and figure it out. So hold on 1 second, okay?
Okay.
All right. By the way, we don't have a lot of people on hold. Maybe it's the August blues. It could be. It could also be the Hump Day Wednesday blues. Are there blues on Wednesday?
It's Hump Day.
It's
How
Hump Day.
could
There should
you?
never be
You
blues.
never have blues on Hump Day.
Especially
Maybe if you don't have the right alarm clock.
Maybe. Maybe everybody got off and went to the Little Rooster
Store.
All of a sudden, the alarm clocks, the guy who owns it, in England, they're getting orders at 3 a.m.
Right.
100 orders, like, oh my God, what's going on here? It's like they're flying off the shelves, these Little Roosters.
Their site crashes. They don't know why.
Oh my God. All right, let's go to, I guess you would say, oh my God, every time you wake up in the morning, right? Luke in Newark, New Jersey. Luke.
Hey, good night. So my question is, I first came to the U.S. in 2006.
Yes.
And I went back to my country in South America in 2008. So between 2008 and 2014, I had not been in the U.S. or returned to the U.S. I would say.
Where are you from?
Guyana.
Okay.
Guyana.
All right, so you came for how many months in 2008?
So I first came 2006. I spent a year, went in 2007 back to Guyana, came back the summer of 2008, and then went back to Guyana.
Okay, and when you stayed for the year, you came on a tourist visa?
No, it was a permanent. I had
your green card?
Yes.
Okay, and then you stayed for a year, you went home.
Yeah, so the last time I basically left the U.S. was 2008 to go back to Guyana. And so between the years of 2008 and 2014, I had not returned to the U.S.
And then
even though I had a green card.
And you returned in 2014, you showed a green card, they let you into America?
Yes, they did.
Okay, so you're all good.
So my question is, as it relates to citizenship, I know that technically had I stayed, I would have been able to qualify, but since I returned and spent that many years in Guyana, do I still qualify, or do I have to wait 5 years from 2014?
Okay, this is the law. Okay, so what you have to do is look at your passports and look at the calendars. Okay?
Okay.
So law number 1 is 5 years permanent resident. You have that.
Okay.
Okay, because you've been a green card holder since 2008. Now, you got very lucky being allowed back in 2014. I would believe that had they been aware that you were out of the country for 5 or 6 years, they would have turned you around or at least told you to go see a judge and said that you abandoned your residence. So you got very lucky, but they admitted you back to the United States as a permanent resident, so you're okay. All right? So you have 5 years as a permanent resident, so you satisfy that rule. Okay? The next rule is no trip out of the United States more than 6 months in the preceding 5 years. Now, because you had a trip for 5 years out of the country up until 2014, so basically you would have to wait until 5 years from the time you came back in 2014 before you file your citizenship.
Okay, which will be October of 2019.
Correct. That's when you should. That's when you file your citizenship.
Okay.
All right.
That makes sense.
All right.
All right then.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Enjoy. Bye.
All right. Let's go to David in San Francisco. David.
Hi, Brad.
How you doing?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good. I'm calling from San Francisco. Brad, I have a question for you, please.
Yes.
I am on deportation procedure already because I overstayed my B2 visa.
Where are you from?
So I got married after then, and I went for the interview, the I-130 interview, and it was approved.
Great.
And 2 months later, I got an email saying I need to pay some fees for the NVC visa or whatever, but I'm not too sure, so I said I should call Brad and ask if Brad
So
can give me more clue.
you are in removal proceedings now?
Yes.
Okay, how did you come to the United States of America?
I came with a visa
Where are you from?
from West Africa, Ghana.
And you and your wife, you're living together now in a bona fide marriage?
Yes.
Okay. When is your next hearing date but with the judge?
Next year, I think May next year.
Okay. So 2 things you should be doing. Number one, the notice you got from the National Visa Center. This is a situation where the right hand doesn't know the left hand. The notice you got from the National Visa Center is for you to schedule an appointment back in Africa. If you actually pay the fees, your file's being transferred to Africa. You're going to get an appointment in Africa, and if you actually get on a plane to go to Africa, you're self-deported, and now you ain't coming back. So you don't want to pay the fees. What you want to do is you want to write the National Visa Center, and you can write them a letter just on regular stationery, attach a copy of the letter asking for the fees, put your case number, say I'm the beneficiary, I'm paraphrasing. I'm in the United States, I'm going to adjust my status here. Please return the case to USCIS. And they'll return it to USCIS waiting on your adjustment. Now, there's nothing you can do until you see a judge. You're not scheduled to see a judge for another 1.5 years. That sucks.
Yeah.
So something that should be happening, since you already have the I-130 approved, is you should be having your lawyer or whoever's handling your case file a motion with the immigration judge to make your next hearing closer, to have reschedule your master calendar hearing to a closer date for the purposes of terminating your deportation proceedings to allow you to adjust your status back with immigration. You can't adjust your status with immigration until your deportation, your removal proceedings are terminated by a judge. A judge won't do that until the I-130 is approved. You have the I-130 approved. Immigration says this is a real marriage. There's no reason that you have to wait 1.5 years to be able to get a green card. The judge wants your case off his calendar so he can put somebody else's case that he can deport on the calendar. So it works out for everybody if you ask to recalendar the case, make it come in closer, and simultaneously say recalendar for purposes of terminating because I have an approved I-130, and then you adjust.
Okay, Brad. I understand now.
All right, I didn't take a breath through that one. All right, David. If you need help, hold on. All right.
Talent there.
Well, added some talent there. I don't know what Trump was saying that Bernstein has low IQ.
Right.
I don't know what that Trump doll was saying. Low energy.
No way.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
I feel like if you're gonna debate someone, it would almost be harder to debate a Sam Trump impersonation than Trump himself.
Maybe.
So I feel like you're good.
Yeah.
Maybe. Meanwhile, I can't do any more hump days. We'll go.
The hump days, they're always good, Brad.
1-800-529-5465. We have 12 open lines right now.
Wow.
So our telephone calls are supposed to go for 5 more minutes. So if you do want to call right now, we will get you in on our immigration show, and we will answer your immigration questions. Tony in Kingston, Jamaica. Tony, how are you?
Good evening.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
What's going on?
Okay, so I'm just calling to find out a question. If someone knows all your information into the case number and the receipt number, are they able to stop your immigration filing, like if your spouse is filing for you?
No, unless that person is your attorney. They can't do anything.
Okay, so that person is not the attorney.
No.
So what if they actually try to forge a signature and mail it in?
Well, anyone can forge a signature. Hopefully immigration doesn't buy it. So I can't, you can't protect against that. And if they do, perhaps what you should be doing, okay, this is what you should be doing. what you should be doing is hiring an attorney. And when you hire an attorney, one of the things an attorney does is submit what's called a G28. A G28 is an authorization by you to allow an attorney to handle your case. Only licensed attorneys can sign a G28. If in fact somebody is now impersonating an attorney to get at you and forges a signature on a G28, because once a G28 is in by an attorney, immigration will not recognize any other attorney unless a new G28 goes in for that attorney, they are now committing a crime by impersonating an attorney and committing fraud with the immigration. What would happen is, if we're able to prove that, they would go to jail and we'll get your case reopened.
All right, no problem. That's all I wanted to find out.
All right?
Okay,
so I wouldn't worry about it too much. I don't think anybody would want to go to jail to hurt you, but maybe, you never know. I guess people go to jail all the time and hurt people, so maybe. You don't know. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Good luck. All right. All right, let's go to Paul in Charleston, South Carolina. Paul.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, how you
Good afternoon, sir. I'm doing good. I've got a question. I came to America, I think it's like 2006, get married. But when I went for my second interview, my wife didn't show up. So I was in the process of...
This is the second interview is for the 2-year green card to the permanent?
Yeah, I get the 2-year first, but the second one, yeah.
Okay.
To take the condition off of it.
Got it.
But when I went, me and my wife were separated, so I went by myself.
You went and you said, okay, I'm separated. So what happened?
Yeah, I went in by myself, and they told me...
you denied. I would assume they denied you.
Yeah, they denied it. So I was in the process of being deported. But I went to court. I've been going to court from 2009.
Right.
I think like 2016, the judge stopped it.
Why did the judge stop it?
Because like every time I go to court, they keep putting it off.
Let me ask you a question, Paul.
Yes, sir.
Are you divorced from this woman?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. You have proof that you and this woman were living together in a real marriage?
Yes, sir.
That's all you need to get. That's all you need to get a green card. So there's something else going on with your case.
Oh.
I don't know. What else is going on with the case?
I've been to court like a couple times. To be honest, I don't know what's going on. Every time I go, like, I'm the only person showed up.
All right. So this is a couple issues that I see. Okay. Number one, the case shouldn't be taking 6-7 years. Okay. That says there's something wrong. The other issue I see, which is really, and I'm gonna call you out a little bit on this. Okay. Mm-hmm. You don't know what's going on with your case. Okay. No. If you don't know what's going on with your case and you don't understand, you got to speak up. You got to ask questions. You got to go to a professional to find out what's happening. You can't just say, I just go into court willy-nilly and hope something good's going to happen, because what's happened is 7 years of nonsense. I don't know what's going on, but obviously I can tell you this. If you are divorced from the woman and you can prove it was a real marriage, you should not only have had your green card already, you should be a citizen. So hold on. All right. Your lawyer, just because you got a lawyer, mate, doesn't mean you necessarily got the right lawyer. Because even if the lawyer's doing everything right and the lawyer's doing everything perfect and correct, the one thing the lawyer's not doing is telling you what's going on. Because you have no idea. Part of a lawyer's job is to communicate with the client and tell them what's going on.
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
I want to know something. Okay.
Hold on. Let's have a consultation. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. You're going to have a consultation with me, and if you choose, you'll hire me. I'm going to pull the records from the court. It takes about 60 days. I'm going to review it all. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, and then I'm going to tell you what you do to fix it. Okay?
Okay.
So in 60 days, you're going to know everything. Hold on. Let's go to Michael in Newark. Michael.
Hi, good day. I'm here on asylum. I got my work permit a year now, but I was married before. I applied for my asylum. My wife was on green card, and the lawyer that I had that I was applying for asylum, I went with my girlfriend. She said, like, why you don't marry your girlfriend? I said, she asked me, and I refused for about 6 times. I said I was waiting until my mom came up to the U.S., but the lawyer's like, no, just go marry her. Your time is counting. We've been married 2 years now. We got 2 kids. She just became a U.S. citizen, but I still have my papers via asylum inside.
How did you come to the United States?
I came on a visa.
Okay. Where are you from?
Guyana.
All right. You have 2 kids. Okay. I can tell you that your political asylum, no matter how great of a case you have, is not a 100% certainty, and it's going to take several more years. I could also tell you that if you're married to a U.S. citizen, you came on a visa, you didn't commit fraud, you got 2 kids together, and your wife can support you 125% above the poverty level, you're going to get a green card. So what you should be doing...
My wife doesn't work because
okay,
of the kids.
so then what you would need to do is get someone to give you an affidavit of support who's in America. So assuming you can
work.
No, not you, somebody else.
Okay.
Okay, assuming you get that, what you would do is you would withdraw your asylum, file an adjustment, and I agree with your lawyer, that's what you should be doing to get your green card.
Okay, but she just became, literally just became a U.S. citizen.
And then just because she just literally became a U.S. citizen should be the exact reason why you just literally now withdraw your asylum and file an adjustment.
Okay. Something I was going to ask you. And my daughter, can I put my daughter on the adjustment form?
How old is
Somebody
she?
told me that my daughter is 5 years old, but she's in a different country.
You wouldn't put her on the adjustment form. Your wife would file a separate I-130 visa petition for her as a stepmom. It would be 2 separate cases going on 2 separate tracks. On one track is your adjustment. On a separate track is an I-130 by your wife as the stepmom of this 5-year-old child to process her to pick up a green card in Georgetown, Guyana.
No, my daughter is not in Guyana. My daughter is in Trinidad. I was hiding out in Trinidad.
Okay, so in Port of Spain, in Port of Spain then.
Okay, and when I take back the asylum case, right, what's going to happen to my present work permit because I support my family via that?
Well, what's going to happen is you're going to apply for a new work permit through your marriage.
But then the present work permit, when I revoke the asylum, will that become null and void immediately?
Well, technically yes, but your employer won't know because you have a validity date on the work permit.
Okay.
And you're going to get a new one in several months.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Hold on one second if you need help. Which it sounds like he does.
You need help.
Right.
Well, you say thank you, like I'm fine now, I'm all good, I appreciate it.
We just talked about how you have no idea where you're at.
Like,
yeah, no.
He needs to come in.
Marge Hicks says, man, take up your grip of papers and go see Brad.
Like, it's
Velma
crazy.
Gale saying, sir, you asking too much free questions.
That's all.
Michael, get a phone conversation with Brad on Skype right now.
That was a lot.
That was a lot, right?
Yeah.
If you have that many questions, you need an attorney.
But the guy from South Carolina didn't even know what's going on. And he has an attorney.
And he has an attorney.
So I'm not saying the attorney's doing anything wrong, but one thing the attorney's doing is not communicating with...
Well, that is doing something wrong.
That's doing something wrong. Yeah. You should know what's going on with your case.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right, it's Hump Day, Kim.
It's Hump Day.
And that means we need the rooster. Where's the rooster?
Yes.
The cock.
Oh, I know where the rooster is. I'm not showing y'all.
What's the
You have
website? The little rooster alarm clock. The website that Kim has memorized. What is the website that Kim has memorized?
It is
It's like we have. It's like. By the way,
littleroosterstore.com.
By the way, we have absolutely no financial stake in this whatsoever, other than it makes us laugh.
I'm gonna have a stake in this pretty soon,
Yes.
Brad. I gotta be honest.
All right. So we're gonna get to something, a little something, but before we get to a little something that we call social media check-in, Kim and Yo-Yo, where we are with our shares today.
You know, being a little unbribed, they're doing actually not
bad.
Terrible.
Yeah,
we're
awesome.
at 171 shares right now.
Wow.
We've done far better.
Yeah.
We know you can do better. However, it's not the worst.
By the way, I already have the comment of the day by Jella Shorta.
Do you?
You know, boy, Brad, you're a god and full of patience.
I wonder why you would choose that one.
Yes, I don't know, but I think that could be comments of the day.
Yeah, I think it's pretty.
Brad the deity.
Yes.
How can you be both God and
Yes.
president at the same time?
Right, it's like in Ghostbusters where they have to think about, you know, the form of their destructor. I was just watching Bradshaw live, and that is a huge Brad.
There's the Mr. Marshmallow Man, or there's a Brad Bernstein.
All right, so please ask everybody to share, and let's go to our social media check-in.
Y'all, share. The little arrow, top of the post or bottom of the post, depending on what you're on. It's so simple. Where should they share it, though, Jonathan?
Where you guys can share it to is different people's pages individually. You can share it to people's inboxes and just ask them to share it as well. So when you share it to them, don't just share it, but actually put a little note saying this is exactly what the show is about, and then ask them to share it. It's a ripple effect. We can make this happen. Let's be a big old happy family. You feel me?
Yes.
All right, so now we get to something we call social media check-in. All right, first, Instagram. Second, YouTube. Third, Twitter. Fourth, Facebook. Instagram, our questions on Instagram at Bradshaw Live on Instagram. The best way to get your questions in first is go to Instagram and please follow and like at Bradshaw Live on Instagram. And what's also good about following and liking us on Instagram is that we, every day in our story section, we give you the highlights of the show from the day before in 2.5 minutes or less. And if you do miss any part of the show, we will give you all of the highlights in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Plus answer your immigration questions.
That's right.
Right.
My God, we're amazing. Our first question from Instagram is from...
Well, wait, hold it. Okay, Jealous Shauna is no longer comment of the day.
Why?
I read it wrong. I am not a god. I am a godsend. I'm more of an angel. Yes, I am a godsend. I'm an angel, not a god.
That's a little bit more realistic.
That's
though.
more
So
realistic.
I was going to say, this
my
I can
ego is building.
Golly.
My ego is building.
When is that construction crew for the double-size studio? We're going to need them in here quick if you guys can say.
Next time I start reading comments, I gotta wear my glasses. You know what we gotta really do is get the. We have the video monitors, but they're so far away from us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we see us and we see everything.
Right.
But the little comments on the bottom come in so small, at least for my 49-year-old eyes.
When
I
it's
can't
long,
read them.
it comes in small for me. But if it's a short,
I still
thing,
can't see them. That was the best I could read it from far away.
That was actually pretty good.
I tried my best.
At least you tried.
We need to be, if we're going to really be like CNN, we're going to need the glass through the
table.
table.
And you can see.
And just.
Why did we do that?
Because we were not quite CNN, Brad.
Because we don't want to spend the money on the glass through the table.
On a new table, right, exactly.
Right.
That would be pretty dope.
That would be pretty dope.
You buying us a new table? Yeah.
I sure am not.
Yes, with all his winnings from the Grand Hustle.
Right.
Exactly.
Yo-Yo has told us, he has said, Brad, if I win the Grand Hustle, what do you get, $100,000?
A 6-figure salary.
A 6-figure salary.
With TI.
Okay, so he will get at least $100,000.
A year.
A year.
Right.
Yo-Yo said he will buy us a new glass table.
Yep, I heard that.
A bottle of tequila.
Yes, for you.
And
1942.
And all the alarm roosters that we could handle.
Yes!
That is what we are getting.
Go, Yo-Yo!
Boss man right here.
All right. So now we're getting to a section that we call social media check-in.
Our first question from Instagram is from I Like Hashtags. And I Like Hashtags said, "Hey squad, I've got a question for the show. I'd like to know what happens if my affidavit of support, my petitioner, changes jobs after the application has been submitted, and now we're just waiting it out. Right now, it's been a month since we've done fingerprints."
Just leave it alone for now, but at the time of the interview, just bring a new job letter from your person's new job.
All right, and that is it for the Instagram.
By the way, Marge Higgs making me laugh. She says that Yo-Yo should be buying us a table from Ben Carson.
That's a $10,000 table. $30,000 table.
It's a little too steep.
We're starting to really eat through
rich,
your salary.
A little rich for my blood.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to YouTube now.
Yes.
We have one from M. Prasad. So what will be your slogan for Bernstein 2020?
Everyone's entitled to the American dream.
Oh, we already have
We already have the slogan.
I love
So
that.
We don't need to do anything. We got it all done.
The campaign is set.
You're entitled to the American dream.
Me gusta, me
and
gusta.
for those people who are left behind, that's why you got Brad.
That's beautiful. And then
there's more people left behind than there are people living the American dream right now.
Right. And then afterwards,
look at this. I could actually make a whole campaign about this.
Oh my God, we already have our whole one sheet and everything.
Yes.
We wrote it mere days ago.
Yes.
Isn't this how Trump's campaign started? Like he just randomly said it. I think maybe like a little kid said, "Hey, you should be president." He's like, "All right, sure,
all right, why not?"
Who would be your VP, Brad?
Who would be my? I don't know yet.
I feel like it has to be.
Don't put me on the I will submit a list soon.
Okay.
Jill.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I think it needs to be a split ticket.
I think the smartest guy I know is Jill's husband, Paul.
Oh.
I think Paul's going to be the vice president.
A Bernstein Dickman ticket would be one hell of a mouthful.
I'm here for it.
CS on YouTube says, "Greetings, I filed for an adjustment of status in New York. This week marks 120 days since I've been waiting on my work permit. Can I do the mandamus yet?"
No. 100 days?
120 days.
That's 4 months. No. Wait like 6 months. You should be getting it any time now. Because a mandamus takes at least 90 days to go through the court system. It's not like you file it and then all of a sudden, boom, a work permit appears the next day. You know, the court process takes a time period. So not yet. What's going to happen is that lawyers are going to get together and do some sort of class action for all of these people. I'm not doing it, but somebody will do it. I'm too busy running for president.
Right. You can't run a campaign and
correct.
Right.
You actually have work to do.
Right. By the way, Kim, I looked yesterday. You had said there was 460 people in the Brad Squad. There's over 500.
That's since yesterday.
Yes, there's about 510 people in the Brad Squad.
Yes, now. Brad Squad.
Yes, including Nicole Paris, who's a real person.
Nicole Paris, the real person.
The real person
who
Nicole.
Chimed in.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Haters.
Yes.
All right.
By the way, we're getting a write-in candidate, Tamika Nelson, for vice president. That's not a bad vice president.
She may have already earned that spot. You're not wrong.
I'm down for it.
And Carol Anderson, the Tiger, the head of the State Department. We want a Tiger in that State Department.
In the State Department.
Yes.
Your entire cabinet can be Brad Squad.
Right. Basically what Trump did with his family.
Right, exactly.
That's right. And of course we got the caged animal. We don't know what he would be, but he would be in the administration.
Are you kidding? He's like your Michael Cohen.
Yes.
He's your caged animal.
All right, we have another one from YouTube, Dan Roy Cuffey. Hello, Brad. Do you have an offline number?
1-800-529-5465. That is the number to reach our law office.
It's really the same one as the online number.
Correct.
Yeah.
Stax B wants some clarification. So I think you talked to him on the phone yesterday. He talked about needing the 40 quarters for the affidavit of support and that he may not have enough. He says that he's looked it up online and he cannot seem to find a consensus. It says that he thinks you can use your own income to meet the requirement even if his wife isn't working, as long as he has a valid EAD, so that he doesn't need to,
The consensus is the words that come out of my mouth. It's 40 quarters working legally. Case closed.
There you go.
All right, going back to Facebook now. Ben Dallas, I'm married to a citizen, and we had a bad fallout as she cheated on me. We're now married for 9 years, but separated for 5 years. What are my options besides going back?
Extreme emotional abuse, getting divorced, and falling in love with somebody else.
King Dane says, if someone's SIDS cases gets denied based on being over 18 but under 21, could they get married right afterwards?
I think he called. He was the first person to call.
He did,
and
right?
The answer's yes.
I thought so.
Yes.
Dwight said, if I'm a 10-year card holder, how long would it take for my wife to get her green card?
About 2 years, 2.5 years.
Okay, Chin Carter says, what date does immigration start counting from? The date you file I-130 or the date you file I-485 or the date you did your fingerprints for someone to get their green card interviews?
The I-485.
Latifa says, I had an interview at the U.S. Embassy.
Latifah,
I believe she called. She had the interview at the U.S. Embassy in Ghana and was denied under 212A. Did she call? No? I'm going to keep going.
Just ask.
My question is, what are the documents to prove that my husband is not likely to become a public charge at any time? And how long will it take for them to issue the visa to him if we submit the docs to overcome that?
This is for the green card?
Mm-hmm.
An affidavit of support. It's an I-864, and it's 3 years of your tax returns, a job letter, and a bank letter.
All right. Sophia R. Gray says, Brad, explain the stages for FR. Is that 4?
4. Yes.
Okay. For and the stages for the adjustment of status to getting your papers.
The stages.
Yes.
It's the 7 stage. It's like the 7 stages of grief, you know, and
Yes.
anxiety,
Right.
pressure. I mean, you go through the whole entire emotional gamut here. But basically, you file your adjustment. They will send you back a notification that they received it. You will get another notification to take a fingerprint. You will take that fingerprint. After you take that fingerprint and it clears, you should get a work permit and a travel document if you did everything properly. Then you are going to wait 4, 6, 8 months. You're going to get a notice for a hearing date. They're going to give you about 2 to 3 weeks notification. You show up at that hearing and hopefully all goes well and you get a green card. There is all of the stages of grief of filing an adjustment, because I'm making a joke, but it's very true, because there's anxiety, there's stress, there's sadness, there's happiness at the end. I mean, you go through every human emotion doing an adjustment application.
We've got a question from Ricardo who says, quick question, if I did my biometric on May 14th of this year, about how much longer should I be waiting for my work permit?
Should be getting it very shortly if everything was done well.
All right. Sharam Khan has a couple questions.
By the way, the entire Brad squad is making up. I'm just seeing here.
Mm-hmm.
They have basically put together the entire cabinet.
Have they?
Yes.
Who's who?
I don't know, but they have put together the entire cabinet. Nobody's asked me, but I have no say in the matter anymore. Brad Squad runs the show anyway.
They've taken over your cabinet, your presidency?
Yes.
Well, you should have known.
Yes. Talking about the kitchen cabinet, that is it, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, Sharam Khan has about 3 questions for you, okay? So, first one, can someone get a driver's license based on an EAD card and a social security number valid for work only while status is still pending in PA?
Yes, they should be able to.
Okay, question 2, how much time does it take for USCIS to send a letter for the green card interview?
About 9 to 12 months from the time you file.
All right, and question 3, how much time does it take to get an EAD card reissued once you send it back for correction?
4 to 6 months. So, but for some reason I have in the back of my head that someone's going to ask, Brad, I have a question. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Do you have the answer?
I don't know.
Oh, I'll tell you.
What?
A woodchuck could chuck as much wood as a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. It's real.
And with that being said, this is really cool, by the way. We're going to get to our interview section now. We're going to come back and answer everybody's questions afterwards. I had a chance to interview this woman. She's actually, Oprah Winfrey has put her on Oprah's book club as being one of the books to read for the summer. Her name is Dr. Mona Hanna-Attisha, and she's a Detroit pediatrician. But what she did was she was the person who was responsible or substantially responsible for exposing the Flint water crisis in 2015. her newly released memoir, What the Eyes Don't See, A Story of Crisis, Hope, and Resistance in an American City, as I said, landed on Oprah Winfrey's list of top books to read this summer. Dr. Mona recently joined me to discuss her fight in fighting the Flint water crisis, what's happening in Flint now, her Iraqi family's immigrant roots, how her Iraqi family's immigrant roots influenced her career and her passion for social justice. Now, I want you to know, this woman, if you ever see the movie Erin Brockovich, where exposed this is going to be a movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really.
I assure you,
Dr. Mona Hanna-Attisha.
I assure you, after hearing this story, you're going to say, everybody who is a producer out there is going to be running. I'm sure she's already signed some contract for a movie. Right. Oprah Winfrey telling everyone, read this woman's book. Okay?
Right.
It's pretty interesting. If you know this is going to be an interesting woman if Oprah's saying, read her book.
Yep.
Okay? Let's watch.
Attisha, known as Dr. Mona, she is the daughter of Iraqi immigrants living in Detroit. She's a pediatrician.
That was an amazing interview.
Dr. Mona Hanna-Attisha, known as Dr. Mona, she is the daughter of Iraqi immigrants living in Detroit. She's a pediatrician. She has helped expose the Flint water crisis in 2015. Her memoir, released June 2018, What the Eyes Don't See, A Story of Crisis, Hope, and Resistance in an American City, has landed on the 2018 Oprah Winfrey's list of the top books to read this summer. In 2016, she was named one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people in the world. Dr. Mona is with me today to discuss how her family's immigrant roots and activist background influenced her career as a doctor and scientist and inspired her in pursuit of justice and exposing the Flint water disaster. It's not even a crisis, I would call it a disaster after you hear what Dr. Mona has to say. So how are you? Welcome, and appreciate you coming on and your time. Thank you very much.
Brad, it's great to be with you. Thank you.
So Dr. Mona, you are the director of the Michigan State University Children's Hospital Pediatric Public Health Initiative. You mitigated the impact of the Flint water crisis. You're a professor of pediatrics at Michigan State University. How did you get involved in this whole Flint water crisis? What happened?
So for about 17 months, Flint had switched their water source to the Flint River without treating it properly. It was missing corrosion control. Lots of complaints about the water, but I assumed everything was okay.
What year was this? What year was this?
2014.
Okay, so
April 2014.
They switched the water supply, and they say everything's good.
Everything's good for 17 months, despite residents' complaints. They knew something was wrong. There was color, odor, taste issues. But, I was going along my busy work as a pediatrician, and I was believing what the government said. I mean, why wouldn't you? America.
Are you a resident of Flint? You have patients from Flint? Are you near Flint? Or all three?
No, yeah, so we're actually in Flint right now. But I work in Flint. I don't live in Flint, but I work in Flint. And the patients I care for live in Flint. And they were coming to me asking me if the water was okay. And how could the water not be okay? It's, who doesn't assume that when you turn on your tap, your water is not okay?
So they were complaining. Who did they complain to? They complained to you as a doctor. They complained to who else? Who would they complain to?
Everybody, every level of government, the city, the state, federal government, including the EPA. Flint had lost democracy. We were under state-appointed emergency management, and the only focus was austerity to save money. So the voices of the citizens of Flint were being dismissed and denied throughout the story.
So who was in charge? Who was ultimately in charge of diverting the water? It went from one river to the other. And whose ultimate decision was that?
Yeah, it went from the Great Lakes, which we had been getting for half a century.
It's a freshwater source?
And the best, highest quality water source. And it was switched to the Flint River without proper treatment. And that decision was made by the emergency managers who report to the governor. So this was a state-driven decision.
Why was the Flint River being polluted by industry, or is it just a contaminated river just by nature?
That's a great question. So the Flint River has a history of legacy pollution. It's actually caught on fire twice. But the river was not the problem. The problem was the water was not treated with corrosion control, an important ingredient. And without that treatment, the water was about 19 times more corrosive. It ate up our pipes. Lead from our pipes went into our drinking water and into the bodies of our children.
And people are complaining this water is not being treated. It's Flint is no longer being run by the local citizens. It's being run by an outside agency, whether it's the state or whatever agency is responsible for running it. They basically went bankrupt, I guess, the city.
Yep.
And they switched the water source, I guess, to save money. What was the savings that they got from switching the water source? And number two, what could they have spent? Was it a very expensive thing to treat this water?
Yeah, so the savings were estimated in the millions of dollars. I don't remember the exact number, but maybe about $30 million to switch from the Great Lakes to the Flint River. However, it only would have cost $80 to $100 a day to add this proper treatment chemical that was not added. And that was not added, and the pump to install that treatment chemical was never installed. So there was really never even an intention to treat this water properly.
So let me get this straight. $80 a day, we'll do the math in my head, $560 a week, right? For a little over $500 a week, they could have saved lives and saved and the health risks that they've put the entire city under for $500 a week.
Yep, and the cost of our recovery thus far is close to $1 billion. And that is just the beginning of the investment that is needed to make Flint whole again.
All right, so let's take a step back. You said everybody's complaining. They were complaining that there was a smell to the water, or were they complaining that the water didn't taste well, or were they literally coming to you, both adults and children, saying, I feel sick, I think it's the water?
So really all of the above. There were citywide complaints about odor, quality, taste. Bacteria was in the water. Chlorine was added, which irritated people's skin and eyes. Lots of issues. Parents coming in with vague complaints about children. But for 17 months, everybody was being reassured. Even when General Motors, which was born in Flint, after just a few months of the water switch, noticed that their engine parts were corroding from this water source, and they got a bypass to go back to the Great Lakes, but the people of Flint were literally told to relax.
All right, so General Motors, okay, the water from this water source, Flint River, is corroding metal. But so you can only imagine what it was doing to the human body. Okay?
Absolutely.
And they say, okay, we want General Motors to be okay. We'll save the metal. Who cares about the children and the adults in Flint, Michigan? That's basically what they said.
Clear disregard for public health and children's health.
I assume as a doctor, you believed, certainly in the beginning, that what the public officials are saying, public health officials are saying, both locally and from the EPA and from the state level, that this water source is safe. What were they saying about the water source? Were they saying because they're adding chlorine, it was killing all of the whatever bacteria or viruses were in the water, and they said therefore it's safe? What were they saying to try to convince the public that this was safe water?
Yeah, so after every really concern by residents, by city officials, there was reassurances that the water is testing fine, that it meets compliance guidelines. Lots of different phrases. That literally one government spokesperson said that you can relax, that if you're worried about lead, you should just relax. So lots of reassurances about all the multiple complaints that were coming in about this water.
So then what piqued your interest in this? Obviously you're seeing sick children, but when did you start trying to connect the dots, saying, wait a second, something is wrong?
Yeah, so the title of this book is What the Eyes Don't See. And that's because we do not see lead in water. It's colorless, it's odorless. And actually, children were really not presenting with symptoms because our eyes do not see the symptoms of lead poisoning. It's known as a silent pediatric epidemic. But my eyes were opened when a girlfriend of mine, high school girlfriend, who happens to be a drinking water expert, was at my home and shared what she knew, which was that the water was not being treated with corrosion control, and thus we would have lead in the water. And from that moment on, I began this almost quest to uncover what was happening to our children.
So now, before that conversation where your friend just happened to have known, she was a former, EPA official, I guess?
Yeah.
And she just kind of blurted it out in general conversation. You were seeing children presenting with lead. But, right?
So,
I guess
yeah.
you take a blood test and you see the lead level is risen in their blood. That's the only way to determine it. What does lead do to children? What does lead do to adults?
Great question. And that's when my life changed, when I heard the word lead. Because as a pediatrician, we know what lead does. It is a poison. It's an irreversible neurotoxin with no safe level. It impacts children's cognition, dropping IQ levels, impacts their behavior. It alters their entire life course trajectory. We are never supposed to use children. We're never supposed to expose them to lead because really we are only, when we detect it in a child, it just tells us there's an environmental problem.
So, so prior to your conversation with your friend, children were presenting with lead. I assume you did blood tests. What were you telling the parents the cause was? So you had no idea why this was happening?
So Flint is already a city that has higher rates of lead exposure. Just like cities like Detroit, Chicago, New York, Baltimore, inner city children with poor housing stock are already exposed to lead. So we already see kids with lead poisoning. This also talks about the difference between individual medicine and public health. I can take care of one kid at a time, but I can't tell you there's an epidemic. That's where your eyes need to step back and you need to have a bigger view of what's happening at a population level.
Okay, so now you're taking more of a public health look at this. Once you have this meeting with your friend who says, by the way, they're not treating this water like they're saying it. It was almost like she was almost like the deep throat from the Watergate, exposing this. What did you do at that point? Where did you go about trying to find this proof? Who did you go to? How did you speak up? Because now it's time to stop being a private doctor and being a concerned public advocate. What did you do?
Absolutely. So this is a story about opening your eyes, about recognizing injustices no matter where they are, about being loud and stubborn and persistent, being an activist and being a resistor. And that's a lesson we all need right now. So when I heard this, I knew I needed proof. I needed the data, that big data, the population level data. And I wasn't getting that. Nobody was giving it to me at the county and state level. So I decided to do my own research with our hospital records to see what was happening to the lead levels of our children.
Well, okay, so you started doing a statistical analysis of the lead levels of the children. Is there a way that you as a private citizen could go to the Home Depot or Amazon.com and buy a lead testing kit and just put it under your tap water and see if there's lead coming out of the water? Is that possible?
There are some of those kits at like Home Depot or Lowe's. Right. You can buy those things, but it's very variable. And the water testing we knew. So Mark Edwards, a scientist from Virginia, had come and done water testing of all of Flint, working hand in hand with the people of Flint, and had scientifically proven there was lead in the water. But he was also being dismissed and denied and attacked.
So he was being discredited by who?
By the state.
And what did the state say? What was the state saying? He's a quack. He doesn't know how to do research. He's
pretty much
basically right. He's left of center. He's not in the mainstream of scientific analysis.
Yeah,
and all of that.
Yeah, they essentially called him a magician, and that he would pull rabbits out of hats. Wherever he went, he would pull lead out of water. And this is a MacArthur genius. Like, this guy is a genius, one of the world's experts in lead and water. And he was also being attacked.
So here's a situation where the politicians are lying to people on a regular basis, telling them they're safe, almost brainwashing them to believing that everything is okay when it's not. So this man is discredited by the state. They basically come out with a publicity, tweets, evidence, I don't know, social media, news conferences, whatever they do, they convince the public it's safe to drink the water. Now you're seeing higher levels of lead in children. This man who is a very well-respected scientist is being discredited. It is apparent by everybody's scientific knowledge there's lead and it's poisoning children. So what do? You go about, how did you do this statistical analysis and turn this statistical analysis into confirming what this scientist is saying about the lead in the water?
Yeah, so the book really goes through that fast-paced research of what we discovered. And what we discovered was an increase in the percentage of children's lead levels after the water switch. And I walked out of my clinic and I stepped into a press conference and shared that research. And that is not something that doctors do. But at this point, we had no other choice. I had no other choice. As a physician, I literally took an oath to protect children. I stood up and said I would be the voice of children and be their protector and healer. And we did. And just like everybody else in the story, we were also attacked. My science was attacked. My credibility was attacked. And the facts and the science were dismissed.
Well, how did you go about proving? Because I could assume how they would attack you. I haven't read the book yet, but I'm actually very excited to read it. But I would assume how they would attack you would be something to the effect of it's more of a coincidence. What there's a lot of contributing factors that can go into increased lead in children, and switching the water sources is you haven't proven that is the reason for the increase in lead. It's just a coincidence that it happened at that time. Is that basically what they were saying?
They said I was splicing and dicing numbers, that I was an unfortunate researcher, that I was causing hysteria, and that their numbers, the state's big data, was not consistent with my data. So they had a lot of rebuttals to our facts. But ultimately, we countered all of that because we had controlled for all these confounding factors. And despite all those controls, there still was an increase, and there was no increase outside of Flint. The increase was only in Flint. And in areas where the water lead levels were the highest, we also saw the greatest increase in children's lead levels. So lots of statistics really supported what we knew. When
they were rebutting you and basically saying you're slicing, you're dicing, you're a quack, your research is terrible, did you ever doubt your research? Did you ever say, hey, you know what? They're so good at this publicity machine about convincing people. Did they ever try to convince you, or did you ever have doubt that said, you know what I'm seeing with my eyes and my own research, maybe I'm wrong?
The book goes through those incredible, powerful emotions, because for a moment I felt I was wrong, and I was scared, and I was sick, and there was a knot in my stomach that would not go away. When the entire state tells you you're wrong, it's hard not to believe them. But that lasted a few moments, and ultimately the kids put me back in this fight, because I was fighting for their future, for the lives that were growing inside them and their entire potential. And they got me back, with punching bags on.
So basically, after, if I understand this, after you had a little doubt now because they're really coming and attacking you, but you're still in your private practice and you're seeing kids every day sick, and you're saying, you know what, it can't be anything else. Every day you're seeing sick kids with lead poisoning. How did you eventually convince the authorities that you were correct, or did you first convince the public you were correct and then the authorities had to come around? Which way was it?
Yeah, so when we had our press conference that shared this data, the public finally breathed a sigh of relief, because they knew something was wrong, but they didn't know what. So it was a validation of their concerns. So they were obviously on board and had been on board. And then after a few weeks, finally the state went back, looked at their data, and conceded. They conceded and said, our data are consistent with your data. There is a lead problem. So ultimately, it was our science that spoke truth to power.
How long was it from the time that you exposed this in your press conference to the time that the state and the EPA said, you're right, Dr. Mona?
It was a matter of a couple weeks.
And then at that point, what did you do? What did the state do to try to rectify this?
So within a few weeks after that, we went back to Great Lakes Water. And from that very moment of recognizing that we had this population-wide exposure, my focus went to the hope. So the story is very much that crisis. It is a story of activism and resistance, but it is so much a story of hope, because what was happening in the water was threatening the tomorrows of all of our children. And from that moment on, my focus went to be to the preserving the tomorrows of those kids.
Now, they're still having problems today because, from what I understand from reading the pre-notes, those pipes that the bad water from Flint River was going through are still contaminated. So even though you have fresh water coming from the Great Lakes, in 2018, 4.5 years after you, or 4 years after you exposed this, nobody can drink the water in Flint still.
You're right. So the 18 months that we were on corrosive, untreated water ate up our pipes. So we are replacing those lead pipes. When we complete that, and by 2020, we'll only be the third city in the country that's done that. But that takes time. And while that's happening, people need to continue taking precautions.
So how many children got sick from all of this?
This is a population-wide exposure. Everybody is considered exposed. And once again, our eyes do not see the symptoms. And it's subclinical. That is why we treat everyone as exposed, and thus everybody is benefiting from the interventions that we are putting in place to mitigate the impact.
Do you get exposed just from drinking it? What about if you shower with it? What if you cook vegetables in it?
Yeah, so drinking and eating, even with food cooked with this, exposes you. There was other things in this water that irritated people's skin and eyes, the bacteria, the chlorine, other things in this water. Lead usually does not cross your skin when showering.
Did you get exposed? You're working in Flint. Maybe.
Yeah, probably. I spend most of my time here, but my brain is pretty much developed. We worry about the youngest children, especially those who were prenatally exposed and the babies.
So you can shower with the water in Flint. You just can't drink or eat or cook with it at this point.
Yes, without a filter.
And you're treating children with lead poisoning to this day.
We are treating everyone as if they were exposed, and thus giving them interventions like literacy programs, childcare, healthcare access, mental health support, home visiting, all of these things that science has proven to benefit children's development.
And so basically what the lead poisoning has done to these children potentially, because you don't know until they grow up, is reduce their brain power, I guess, is in layman's terms. You know, they weren't able to fully develop into who they should have been. Is that correct?
So we hope never to see those consequences. And that is why we have built this model public health program, which I direct, that has put into the place the interventions not to see those consequences. Flint is a place that does not want to be remembered for this crisis, but rather for our innovative recovery. And we do have a system in place to see what is going to happen to Flint. It's a Flint registry modeled after the World Trade Center registry to follow folks over time. And not only to see how Flint is doing, but to share our incredible lessons with kids everywhere who are suffering from the same toxicities, the toxicities of poverty and violence and lost democracy and racism. So we hope to share what we are doing with kids in other places.
Now, besides lead, was there any other poisoning from this water source? Did adults get sick? Did anybody die from this? Was anybody hospitalized from this? What kind of statistics can you show that somebody really suffered, even to this day? We don't know about the future of these children, but suffered right now in the last couple of years.
Yeah, lead is only a small part of the story. The whole crisis is a trauma of betrayal and stress and fear and guilt and anxiety. And that in and of itself can have poor outcomes. We also had one of the largest outbreaks of Legionnaire's disease. Adults, especially elderly, contracted pneumonia and died. At least 12 confirmed deaths from Legionnaire's disease and an overall uptick in pneumonia mortality. Because of that, state officials are actually charged with negligent homicide because of those deaths.
So there are public officials who are now facing criminal charges as a result of you exposing. They killed people. and told people it was safe to drink this water, and it wasn't. And I don't even know if it was negligent. It could have even been manslaughter. I don't know, but that's for another day. But I'm glad.
And it's ongoing.
It's ongoing. These criminal charges are going on now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So did you testify before Congress about this? Did Congress get involved in this?
Absolutely. They had several hearings. I was called to testify twice at the U.S. Congress as well as at the state level.
And you told them basically the same findings that you told us just now.
Absolutely. As a pediatrician, this is the science, this is what happens to children, and this is what we need to do as a nation to invest in these children to make sure that they recover.
Did Congress do anything, or was it all talk?
After a year and a half of advocacy, Congress finally passed a Flint bill in December of 2016 to help with our pipe replacement and to fund our registry, but that is just a down payment. We need long-term resources.
So who's supplying the water now to Flint? You still can't drink it out of the pipes?
No, the state ended bottled water supply, but there is a supply of filters for the next 2 years.
And is there anywhere that anyone... So why would the state end it? They caused this problem. Did they come up with a reason why they would end it? Don't they have an obligation to provide safe water?
Great point. They said that our water is testing better and that they no longer have to supply it. But it should have continued. Our water is testing better, but because of the infrastructure work, there's still risks.
So where can people find out more about all of this? But they can read your book. It's on. It's
yeah.
You can go. Tell us about your book a little bit and where you can find it, and then I want to find out a little bit about your background and your history.
Sure. So the book is available everywhere. Like you mentioned, it's on Oprah's summer reading list. New York Times has a cover review on it this weekend in book review. It's been mentioned. New York Times mentioned it's the first book to read when you want to learn more about this issue. But this book, like I mentioned earlier, is so much more than just about Flint. It is ultimately about people, places, and problems all over that we choose not to see. And it is about our obligation as human beings, our civic responsibility to open our eyes and to care for these populations and to be aware of these injustices. So I very much, it is a timely book. It's a book about, like I said, activism, about resistance, about fighting for injustices, and creating hope in communities, especially for children. It is also, like you alluded to, it's an immigrant story. And I don't think that part of this book would have been as big if it wasn't for the last election. I'm a first-generation immigrant. We came to this country when I was 4, very much for freedom, for opportunity, for democracy, for that American dream. And that was realized for me and my family. Lady Liberty opened her arms for me and my family, and that is not happening today.
I am telling you, this is going to be a movie. Yeah. It is an unbelievable story.
Wow.
She's like Erin Brockovich, exposing, instead of big company, a government poisoning public officials, government employees, poisoning the residents of their city because they were completely unaccountable, because they weren't being elected, because the city of Flint went bankrupt. And they caused death and destruction to save under, what was it, $50 a day or something?
Right. Wow.
$80 to $100 a day.
Wow.
$500 a week, and none of this would have happened.
That's insane.
Now, it's also an immigrant story, and we're going to be joined by Dr. Mona tomorrow because we have more to talk to her about.
Right.
She was born in Iraq, the same country that Donald, in the UK, but her family is Iraqi, and the same country that Donald Trump said is basically a shithole.
Right.
And he doesn't want anybody here.
Thank God she was
Thank God
here.
she's here.
Right.
My God, how many lives
We
did
want
she
more
save?
people like her.
But he doesn't.
Right.
So
So we're going to be joined by Dr. Mona tomorrow to finish our discussion.
Awesome.
So please tune in for part 2 with Dr. Mona Hanna-Attisha tomorrow, who wrote the book What the Eyes Don't See: A Story of Crisis, Hope, and Resistance in an American City, about the Flint water crisis, and it has landed on Oprah Winfrey's list of top books. With that being said, we have a whole bunch of people still on hold here with immigration questions.
All right.
Let's try to get through them very quickly. Sandra, how are you?
I'm good.
What's going on? What can I do to help?
Yes, I wanted to know. So my husband, he just renewed his 10-year green card. So he got a DWI in 2000.
Wait. You're drowning out. He renewed his 2-year green card, and what is he doing?
Yeah, but he got a DWI in 2009.
He has a DWI. A DUI or a DWI?
DUI? I don't know.
Okay, all right. So there's a difference. A DUI is not deportable. A DWI is. But he shouldn't be doing anything with any sort of criminal record until he comes by us. Now, you're in Bridgeport, Connecticut. We got an office in Hartford. Hold on. You need to bring his dispositions. Do not do anything else. Bring his dispositions, and let's make sure that nothing bad will happen to him. All right? So hold on one second. Let's go to Sani in Panama City, Florida. Sani.
Hello.
How are you?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. My question is, I have 2 friends that are married to Jamaican men. For one of my friends, she's not able to do the affidavit of support because she spends most of her time in Jamaica where she has a business there. So she apparently did not meet the requirement to do it. The other friend, she makes like almost $100,000 a year. So she was told that she could do it. However, she's going to be filing for her husband, and she's also buying a house. So she was then advised afterwards that she's not able to do it for the other young man because
that's not true.
Of her buying the house.
That's not true, because all they're looking at is her income that she's bringing in. And her income has to be 125% above the poverty level for all of the people that she has to support. They're not looking at what her expenses are. They're not looking at her assets. She has to be able to show an annual income 125% above the poverty level for all the people she has to support. So who is she going to have to support? Herself, the husband she's filing for, and then the other person in Jamaica.
The other person.
That's 3 people.
Yeah.
$100,000 can support 3 people.
Oh, okay.
Not true. So she can help.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you very
You're
much. All right.
Let's go to Riyadh in Boston, Massachusetts. Riyadh.
Hi, guys. What's up?
What's up?
Yeah, my name is Riyadh, and I live in Boston, Massachusetts. I just have 2 questions, guys.
Yes.
The first one is I came with the diversity visa. This is the diversity visa program.
Yep.
And I got the green card here.
Great.
And now, I was watching the news yesterday and today, and they were talking about a new system.
Mm-hmm.
It's about people got the benefits of the healthcare, Obamacare, that stuff. So I got Obamacare for 2 years. And I was wondering because the next year is going to be the year to apply for the citizenship.
The answer is we don't know yet. Okay, you know as much as I know, which is what we read in the news. No regulation has come out. No proposed regulation has come out. This is just things that are being leaked to the news. The news is reporting it. Right now, that's not the law. Obviously, you should try to become a citizen as quickly as possible. Stephen Miller, who is Trump's immigration czar, is not a fan of immigrants. He doesn't like immigrants. He wants immigrants out. So I don't know the answer. I can tell you that if what the news says is going to happen, I talked about this yesterday on the show, there'll be a lot of lawsuits.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you so much.
Okay, you're very welcome.
I'm 3 years and 4 months.
You can file 90 days before the 5-year anniversary. You can file.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Let's go to Tamika in Atlanta, Georgia. Tamika.
Hi, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
Just like that caller earlier, I am currently going to school and doing a paralegal certification course. And the teacher in class told us recently that right now there's a policy out since July of this year whereby if you're filing for someone or if you're trying to adjust your status here, usually before July of this year, you if you're denied, then they just deny you and it's left there. Now, since July, they not only deny you, or it's not even just adjustment or filing, any form of
They're going to
benefit
put you in
that you're trying.
deportation. That is true.
Right. Instead of just leaving
Correct.
it there, they send your documents over to immigration court.
Correct.
Okay, that's one. And then yesterday, he was saying that as of September this year, now, if you're filing for someone, usually, if you make a mistake on the filing or benefits, any form of petition, and there is a mistake, or they usually, or if they need more evidence or so to add to your case, they would generally send you a notice to say, we need this, or this is missing, and so for you to correct it. As of September this year, as in September coming next month, they will no longer be sending you any notice to say,
They're going to deny you.
You've missed this.
That is correct.
Yes,
also.
they're just going to deny you.
That is also correct.
And also send that over to immigration court. Send your document over to.
That is possible.
Okay. I just wanted to confirm it because he said they've already come out with it, and the attorneys were notified that it will start on September.
I don't know if it's September, but yes, they've been talking about doing that. Correct.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to confirm it.
Yes. All true.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, we have our last day of the Granny Caravan, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know the Grannies, they started up in New York, Atlanta, Chicago, California. They came together to eventually make it to McAllen, Texas, which is the immigrant detention center on the border of Mexico and the United States. And the Grannies are now returning home after their week-long journey to protest the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy of separating immigrant children from their families as they attempt to cross the border to America to file for asylum and a better life. So we were lucky enough, which we really were, because I don't know any other show that had Grannies embedded in the caravan. We were lucky enough to have some of the Grannies embedded in the caravan act as our correspondents for the Bradshaw Live, and we have some more video updates of their last day from Granny Rafia and Granny Sharon from their last day in McAllen, Texas. Let's watch.
Hey, Granny. Hey, heading to La Posada. Kathleen McKay from Seattle, Washington. And we are going to get informed about the refugees' services, and we're about ready to meet a couple nuns who do great work. I'm excited to just see a little bit, a window of the refugees' journey when they come here and the services that may or may not be available to them.
Thank you, Granny. So you're on your way to get on this van.
This van.
This is the van, Brad, that started in Beacon, New York, came down to Reading, to Pennsylvania, to Pittsburgh, to Louisville, Kentucky, to Montgomery, Alabama, to New Orleans, to Houston, and now our van is here in McAllen, Texas, and we're off to do our day of service.
Thank you so much for traveling from long distance to come here to McAllen, Texas, participate in the 24-hour action. Experience as well, and what you learned personally before I let you go.
I'm Beth Yeager. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I am the proud grandmother of 9 children, the proud mother of about 50. I was a foster parent for over 20 years. And the reason that this family separation crisis spoke to me so strongly was that I know what family separation does to children. I saw it in my home again and again, where children who were pulled out of very unfortunate circumstances nonetheless suffered from being separated from their families.
We're dealing with a lot of separation of families here. We've been dealing with a lot of separation of families for a long time. And this is what we do here. We create resistance. We are looking into see how can we work with these programs and diminish the ability for our departments, for our police departments to cooperate with ICE.
There is a power greater that is in each and every one of us.
that is bringing us to this point to bring that shift to good?
Unfortunately, after this afternoon, we're all going home. Yes. But the excitement about going home is that we're carrying the message to our communities. There's 3 things that we can do when we want to build a more thriving and sustainable world. 1 is to do holding actions, rallies, protests, legal actions, whatever we can do to stop what's happening now that we think is not helpful to the community at large. The second is to build new institutions, cooperatives, banks, ways that people come together and to build the future and the present that we want for ourselves, our children, our grandchildren, and our great-great-grandchildren.
This is the Ursuline Detention Center, and this bus has just arrived, most likely to bring people in. This is the place where when the press first started talking about the separation of children, you could see the cages inside. Well, every detention center is the same. Every detention center has the cages. Every person that comes through is stripped of their belongings and treated like a criminal. They are put in the cages. They are given the aluminum blankets, and they are required to sleep on the floor. There's no beds. And they keep the temperature really, really low. That's why it's referred to as the ice box, because supposedly it gets rid of disease.
This is Granny Raffia for the Bradshaw Live. I'm standing here in front of the Port Isabella Detention Center here in the San Bienda Valley. If anything will happen, some grannies are attempting to go to the gate.
Isabel, you tell us where you think we should hang.
We're gonna hang some signs. This is our final destination on this week-long journey to take our message of children belong with their mothers and families belong together. We have to change our policy, and it starts with us. If you are in the view of my voice, then you are in view of being able to do something. In your community, it doesn't have to be big. It can be small, but it should be something. Thank you so much. This is Granny Raffia for the Bradshaw Live.
Good morning. It's a little after 6. We're still in McAllen, Texas. I have a sore throat this morning from a lot of screaming for the last 7 days. At any rate, Bradshaw friends, we're wrapping it up here. A lot of grannies have already gone home, and we are heading back out on the bus. There's about 7 of us. We're heading to Houston to take somebody to the airport, and then we're heading to Louisville to drop 3 of us off, and then the rest of them will head on back to New York with a stop in Philadelphia first. Yesterday I was asked by a reporter if I thought that we had made a difference in changing policy and making the Trump administration deal with immigrants in a more humane way. I don't think we changed policy, and I don't think that's how you change policy. I think that what we did was set out to change the hearts and the minds of individual citizens as we traveled across this great country. And when you change the hearts and minds of people, and they go to the polls and they vote, that's when you change policy. This has been a great adventure. And when I get back home, I'm going to keep on doing what I do, which is work with refugees and keep on walking on down to the ICE headquarters and demonstrating and talking to my neighbors about the horrible and inhumane treatment of people who simply want to seek asylum from some pretty horrible situations, only to be faced by equally or maybe even worse situations in the United States. So God bless you. Keep on fighting.
All right. God bless the grannies.
Yes.
They did an amazing job. They definitely changed the minds and hearts of many people. I agree completely that hopefully some of the work that they did by bringing attention to what they were doing will change some people's hearts and some people's minds in the voting booth this November. We are going to have, hopefully, some of the grannies on with us next week. We are trying to work out which day. So hopefully, with fingers crossed, we'll have some grannies on with us next week to find out more, recap their entire journey and their caravan. And, now that they're back home, see, that they've had a chance to decompress and think about what they did, hear about what their feelings and their experiences are. In the meantime, Belgium Kim.
Yes.
We come to the end of our show.
We do.
On Hump Day, a full Humpty Day.
Humpty Dumpty.
It is full indeed.
Right.
To the brim.
Who was the rapper who did Hump?
Do the hump.
Do the hump to hump.
Do the hump.
Do the hump to hump.
Is that Warren G? That's
No,
not Warren G,
no,
right?
that was the guy with the nose.
With the nose.
And,
do the hump to hump. That's what I felt we did the Humpty Hump today.
Yes.
I got you. I got you.
Say
I
it,
got you. Digital Underground. Oh, I actually did know
Yes.
that. I actually did.
All right. So with that, we have some comments of the day, Belgium.
We have many, Brad.
All right, let's go. Comments of the day. Drum roll, please.
Woo! Our first one is from Denisha John.
Hey.
And Denisha John said, my 10-year-old daughter knows me so well, she said to her big sister, don't speak to mommy now, her Bradshaw is on.
She said, don't speak to mom, Bradshaw is on.
Yep, she knows.
I like that.
Wait, there it is. We got to catch up to the
so I'll read it one more time. My 10-year-old daughter knows me so well, she said to her big sister, don't speak to mommy now, her Bradshaw is on.
That's funny.
Don wanted to thank us so much for bringing such phenomenal information every single day.
What did she say?
She said, I don't have it in my notes here. Yeah, thank you. Brad, we appreciate you bringing these stories to us.
Thank you, Dawn.
We appreciate bringing the
Thank you,
stories
Dawn.
to you, Don.
We appreciate you appreciating it.
Yes. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Everyone appreciates it so much. We also have one from Malia Loban Martin who said, oh, that was quick.
That was a very quick drum roll there.
She said, Brad, Kim, and Jonathan, the Bradshaw is my university. I love the show.
I appreciate that as well.
Yep.
I'd appreciate it if I actually saw the comments across the screen. We would appreciate that. We can't get everything in life.
We can't get them all.
Right.
We got a lot today.
Right. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Yes.
Bradshaw Live University. That would be a really good university, I feel
Better
like.
than Trump University.
Definitely.
Okay, by the way, we don't even charge anybody to watch this. And we taught a lot more than Trump University. You had to give back all the money for doing a fraud.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. We would be way better than that.
I'll put Brad University against Trump University any day of the week.
Oh, man.
Malia, as an aside, also said, whoop, whoop, grannies! So, I didn't give them that, but yeah.
Yes, I like that.
Whoop, whoop, grannies.
Whoop, grannies.
Eris HB also said,
wait, she's new.
She's brand new.
Yeah,
I've never
heard her
seen
name
Eris
before.
B.
What's up, Eris B?
What's up? Welcome to the Brad Squad.
Yeah.
If you go join membership in the Brad
group.
Squad group.
That's right.
You have to pledge.
Gotta pledge.
And Eris B said, I learn more and more things every day about immigration. Best show ever.
Oh, wow.
And I think I don't know if I actually sent this to anyone. It's just been in my mind. Jeff has decided what post he wants to be on in the Bernstein 2020 cabinet.
What does he want?
He would like to be the Secretary of Interior Design. This has been in my mind. I'm like,
the
that's
Secretary of Interior Design.
I'm going to have to see your resume.
Yes. I thought he was going to say he wanted to be the First Lady.
He would be a great First Lady. He would be a great First Lady.
Yeah. All right, thank you everybody for joining us on Hump Day, Wednesday, Bradshaw Live.
We had a great time. We also learned a lot as well. We'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAW-LINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465.